a very cold night. Apparently.
Was it really as cold?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think because, yeah.
What? Oh, right.
It depends with where I live.
And how you sleep.
Yes.
All right, a very good morning to you who's watching us right this very moment. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for starting off your day right here with us. What, did you have a cold night? As Victor did, you can let us know.
The weather is changing. It's so hot during the day, extremely hot, and then it drops again
at night.
Yeah, so that's given.
All right, now back to what we'll be having today on the show. Now, from the 25th of November up till the 10th of December, we usually mark 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And this year, it is running with the theme, Unite to End Violence, specifically digital violence against women and girls. And that is what we will be concentrating on today on Wednesday, as we also front the woman at the forefront. So I'll be having two women with me on set. That is Miss Valerie, who is an Italian Agency for Development Corporation, Nairobi Regional Office. And we'll also be having Jerry Wamegwe, who is a human rights defender. They will be here for us to talk about the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, as we get to highlight the escalation of digital violence and try to see how we can get to the goal of raising awareness as well as advocate for better policies matters digital violence, specifically against women. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that conversation later on this program. Mike?
Good morning, Vivian and Victor, and to everyone who is watching KBC Channel 1. My name is Mike Nigwe. Today is the 3rd of December, and it's a day that is usually used to mark the International Day of Persons Living with Disability. It was declared in 1992, and the whole idea of this day is to promote awareness, understanding and acceptance of people living with disability. And as such, today being that day, the theme of that day is fostering disability inclusive societies for advancing social progress. And for that conversation, I'll be having David Onyango, who is a Java Foundation coordinator, and Dr. Patrocio Njeru, who is a district governor nominee, Rotary Club of Kitengela, and Saum Siraj, who is the advocacy chair, Rotary Sunshine Rally and Rotary Club of Hurlingham. They will be joining me here in studio to just talk about the whole idea of International Day of Persons Living with Disability. Away from that, let me give you a quote for today. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. That is a quote by Henry Ford.
That's powerful. That's powerful. All right. Talk about success and talk about persons living with disability. All those things cannot happen without justice. And that is why today I'm going to have a discussion and an interview with the PS, that is Principal Secretary Judith Pareno, Principal Secretary, State Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs. She'll be here at exactly 7. So let's talk about that, how to access justice when it comes to grassroots and Mwananchi, and even fighting corruption and enhancing integrity and so much more. That will be coming at 7. But right about now, how about we head to Isiolo and join Regina Manyara to give us an update on what's happening down there. It's a Marsabit Turkana Cultural Festival. It's going to be a beautiful December, clearly so. And Regina, it must be such a beautiful moment there in Isiolo. The two tribes, the two cultures coming together to celebrate each other. It must be something to smile about, Regina.
Indeed. Good morning, team. Yes, we're coming to you live from Isiolo County. That is County 11. And currently we are en route north. so to speak. So this is all roads are leading through to Marsabit County, to Laihangalani precisely. That is the lake shore of Lake Turkana that is going to be hosting the 14th edition of the Turkana Festival. And this is going to bring together at least 13 communities within this ecosystem. We are talking about the El Molo, who are among the marginalized communities in the country. We are talking about the Dasenach, Sakuye, Wata, to just name but a few of the communities who are going to be showcasing in this cultural exhibition that is also going to attract both local and international tourists. This is one of the festivals that the government has been pushing for to just open up the north to economic development, including matters of tourism activities. So we are likely to see a lot of activity, from various parts of the country as members of the public head to Loyangalani, and that's why we're here. It's almost a 17-hour drive from Nairobi all the way to Loyangalani. So the first stop is Isiolo or Marsabit, if you like. But now we stopped at Isiolo. We are going to be traveling up north. Also in this particular schedule, we expected the president to grace this particular cultural event, but due to other global requirements, we understand that he left for Washington, where we're going to be having a Security Council meeting, and he may be missing in action in this particular festival. So we're waiting to hear from the government and other officials exactly who is going to be the chief guest for this. But also in this particular program, they have dedicated one day in the week-long celebrations to look at inroads that have been made to stem gender-based violence as we mark the 16 days of activism. So, Vivian, that conversation that you're having on matters, the 16 days of activism with a keen interest on digital violence, that is going to be happening in this side of the country during this particular cultural festival. We will not belabor the point, Victor, Vivian, stakeholders in this particular area that we're talking about, the KTB, that is a marketing agency, as well as the county government of Marsabit, have to say in regard to this matter as we bring this to a close. That is in the headlines. But for now, let's bring you up to speed with stories that have been making headlines in the last 12 hours. And as I mentioned, President William Ruto departed for Washington, D.C. in the USA at the invitation of President Donald Trump. Now, President Ruto is going to be joining President Paul Kagame of Rwanda and his Democratic Republic of Congo counterpart, Felix Tshisekedi, to witness the official signing of the DRC-Rwanda peace agreement, which is a most significant breakthrough in addressing the decades of conflict in eastern DRC. Now, according to the Security Council, in this month of December, and this particular meeting is that the council is going to be holding a briefing and have consultations on the situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Earlier in June, around the 27th of June, DRC as well as Rwanda had been engaged in mutual accusations of supporting proxies, armed groups in that particular conflict. So this particular meeting and this particular agreement is definitely a sign of hope to bring this place, or rather security, to the DRC. We'll continue keeping tabs on that now that the president departed for the US to have this particular meeting, or rather to witness this signing agreement between Rwanda and DRC there, so to speak. Now back home and in the August House, focusing on the Senate, is that Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale has been de-whipped from the majority whip position in a communication by the Senate Speaker, that is Amason Kingi. the ruling party resolved to remove the bullfighter and replace him with Bungoma Senator Wafula Wakoli. In recent times, the embattled senator has been on the spotlight for going against the party's ideologies and decisions. Meanwhile, the newly elected lawmakers, consisting of 6 at the National Assembly and only 1 at the Senate, took oath of office. Here is our parliamentary team with a recap of what took place yesterday.
With just about a week to the commencement of Parliament's long recess, a Senate Majority Party meeting on Tuesday resolved to remove Majority Chief Whip Senator Boni Halwale in the latest move by the ruling party to crack a whip on perceived rebel members.
Now, from the correspondence, the minutes indicate that a resolution was passed to remove the Senate Majority Whip, Senator Dr. Boni Halwale, CBS MP, in accordance with Standing Order 22.5.
Halwale's post will now be filled by Bungoma Senator David Wakoli from Ford Kenya Party.
Verify the correspondence received and hereby communicate that the Majority Party has effected a change in the office of the Senate Majority Whip. The new office holder, therefore, with immediate effect is Senator David Wafula Wakoli, MP.
Senator-elect, Baringo County.
Still in Parliament, the newly elected members of Parliament in the just concluded by-election took oath of office at the National Assembly and the Senate.
I, Ongondo Boy Dwere, having been elected a member of the National Assembly, do swear in the name of the Almighty God that I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the people and the Republic of Kenya.
Protect and defend this Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, and that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of Parliament. So help me God.
Nitaheshimu, nitatetea, nitatunza, nitahifadhi na kulinda katiba ya Jamhuri ya Kenya.
In a debate to welcome the new lawmakers, seasoned legislators faulted different political players for pushing the narrative of divisive politics.
What I actually see is a very disunited opposition. Disunited, colorless, rudderless, clueless, visionless, planless, and that is how they lost these by-elections, Honorable Speaker.
Because that one was a proof that the mountain is not owned by any one person. And as we move forward, we want to ask those members who have been elected to work for the people so that when it comes to 2027, we again make it.
Do not rely on social media. Being loud does not necessarily translate to votes. Young people must decide what they want. It is unfortunate that some young people are opposing boys.
The induction of the new members will take place on the 8th and on the 9th of December to familiarize new members with parliamentary procedures.
Now we'll be focusing on what is going to be happening at the Senate later today as the impeachment process of Governor Nyaribo takes center stage. We're going to be keeping tabs on that, and we also know that the Senate is also going to be breaking for the holidays, so we'll keep tabs on that. Now we cross over to Mandera County, where Mandera Governor Mohammed Adan Khalif has warned that the drought experience in the county is escalating to a crisis level. Now, according to the governor, the communities are now dependent on overstretched boreholes, and while the water ponds have dried up, leaving thousands of families in dire need of support. The government has made a passionate appeal to the national government and humanitarian agencies to intervene before the situation gets out of hand.
More than 95% of all the surface water sources, including underground water tanks, water ponds, and traditional catchments, have dried up. We require 40 additional water bowsers for domestic supplies and 37 water bowsers for livestock watering, as weakened animals are increasingly unable to trek long distances in search of water and pasture. I therefore make a special appeal to national government, development partners, humanitarian agencies, NGOs, the private sector, and the local leaders to increase their support for water, food.
According to the disaster management report, it indicates at least 2 million Kenyans are staring at starvation owing to the current drought situation there. A passionate appeal from the Mandera County for intervention before more lives are lost in that particular county. We'll continue keeping tabs on that too. Now we cross over to business, where Kenya faces a research funding gap of 180 billion shillings annually. That Research and Innovation Principal Secretary Shaukut Abdul-Raz says several options are under consideration to bridge that particular deficit. He says the government is mulling over issuing a research bond or mechanism for private equity.
Kenya spends on average 0.8% of the annual budget on research, way below the recommended 2%. To bridge the 180 billion shillings research funding deficit annually, the government is considering issuing a bond to raise 1 trillion shillings under a 10-year research master plan.
For the benefit of the society, if you like, the socialization of science, through this master plan, we are also advocating for the 2% of the GDP to support the research, development, science, technology, and innovation, and looking at the vision that we have to ensure that we can have impact.
The Principal Secretary says a part of the funds could be channeled to funding 1,000 PhD students annually.
In the next 10 years, the government is committed to put 1 trillion, and I think we are in the right trajectory. And as we advance in future with the artificial intelligence, things are going to be much faster, more effective, and more efficient. And we might be able to reduce the funding because we are going to improve efficiency.
We are looking at moving from the already proclaimed 2% of the GDP to get what research funding. Currently, we are able to bring together our members of parliament who have just left us now to drum up the support of what the government is gearing towards having a knowledge-driven economy.
Plans are also underway to start issuing a single-window research permit to reduce research timelines.
For further stories, or rather further details in regard to what has been making headlines in sports, business, as well as current affairs, feel free to log on to our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, as we continue looking at what is developing, given that all eyes are going to be facing the National Assembly there, as well as the Senate that is going to be taking a break for the holidays there, as we look at what direction, the impeachment process of Governor Nyaribo is going to take. We also know the president is in Washington, and he's going to be witnessing quite a momentous occasion, so to speak, where Rwanda and DRC are going to be signing a peace agreement, which hopefully is going to open up matters peace going forward, especially in Eastern DRC. Now, back home, something is happening. The 14th edition of the Turkana festival is going to be happening, or rather is happening beginning today all the way to the 7th of December. This has brought together 14 different communities from northern Kenya, if you like, including the Rendile, Gabra, Dasenach, Samburu, Konso, Wata, and other communities. This is just a mix within the ethnic group, a cultural festival that has been deemed an attraction to not only open up the north to domestic tourism, but also offers an opportunity for international tourists who are keen on culture and tradition to visit even the desert safari. Marsabit is known as the home to the Turkana boy, the cradle of mankind. Now let's have a look at what the governor has to say in regard to this particular festival, as well as the CEO of Kenya that is ahead of these festivities that are going to be kicking off today all the way to the 7th.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to invite each and everyone to come and celebrate with us our Marsabit Lake Turkana Cultural Festival that will take place on the 3rd, from the 3rd to 7th of December this year. Loyangalani is where we have Lake Turkana, and that is where the desert meets the Jeddah Sea, formerly Jeddah Sea. We have a lot of attachment to this important event. It all began in 2008 when German embassy, because of the conflicts that used to be witnessed in that region between the 4 communities, that is the El Molo, the Samburu, the Rendille, and the Turkana, and they formed what was called El Moserotu. So they used to celebrate their cultures, and that was a way of bringing them together, fostering peace and unity, and preserving culture. On the onset of revolution, Marsabit County took over that event. Now we celebrate this cultural event yearly. It has actually turned out to be an international event attended by both local and international tourists. From the onset of devolution, the president has always been attending this function faithfully, and we are very grateful for his support. We are expecting him again on the 4th when we will be commencing officially. So we have 14 communities in Marsabit County. What began with the initial 4 communities around Lake Turkana now encompasses the whole county, where all the 14 communities showcase their culture and heritage. This year's theme is celebrating our cultural heritage, rising in unity, strengthening partnership for peace and progress. Through this festival, we have been able to stabilize the county. The conflicts that used to be experienced has now been stopped completely. Marsabit is like 24-hour economy now, if I may say. And people go about their business without any interference, without any fear. Many projects have been undertaken. All of us know about the Lake Turkana wind power that connects 365 megawatts to national grid, and many other projects underway. Many partners have come to invest in the county. So this is a rallying call for this important international cultural event that will be celebrated from the 3rd to the 7th. On behalf of Marsabit County, I invite all Kenyans and indeed all our international friends to come and celebrate with us our 14th edition of Marsabit Lake Turkana Cultural Festival. Karibuni.
Loyangalani and the wider Marsabit region offers a unique blend of culture, adventure, history, and natural beauty, making it one of Kenya's most distinct tourism destinations. The striking landscapes around Lake Turkana has become popular for international filming, sightseeing, trekking, camping, and cultural immersion thanks to the Turkana boy. So devolution has also opened up new opportunities for counties, and they've had an opportunity to brand and showcase their tourism assets, aligning with Kenya Tourism Board strategy to diversify product, particularly through cultural tourism, cultural immersions, and really showcasing the hidden gems. So Loyangalani Cultural Festival remains a key event, strengthening community cohesion and supporting tourism growth, and it has given us an opportunity to drive visitation to lesser-known destinations through the cultural festival. So for us, we are supporting the Loyangalani Cultural Festival because it is an opportunity for us to showcase what the Northern Circuit has to offer, from Lake Turkana to the Cradle of Mankind, to Loyangalani Desert Museum, to the mountain scenery and historical sites in Turkana, the Central Island National Park, We have the early springs, we have the astrotourism, which comes as a result of clear skies that provide exceptional conditions for stargazing. So with improved infrastructure, we expect this particular area to be fully developed, and we've seen government putting in effort in road network, especially through the Lapset corridor. Karibuni Marsabit, karibu Loyangalani, tembea Kenya.
Indeed, those are just some of the stakeholders there who are rallying not only domestic travelers but also international travelers to make their way to Marsabit and precisely the shores of Lake Turkana in Loyangalani for the 14th edition of the Marsabit Turkana Cultural Festival that kicks off today all the way to the 7th. President William Ruto was expected chief guest, but now he has flown to Washington, D.C. We're going to continue keeping tabs on who then is going to be officially opening up this particular cultural festival that has been deemed a game changer for the North as socio-economic development is being pushed to the area to expose, the hidden gems on culture and tradition, and also the Desert Museum there. Marsabit is a county for the Turkana boy, cradle of mankind. We do hope that those who are in Nairobi, that is Victor, then you'll be able to experience what this region has to offer through our eyes. You are currently in Isiolo County. This is the Acacia Royal Court. Then as we head to Marsabit, which is County 11. But from County number 10, that is Isiolo. This is 11. From County number 11, Isiolo, I'm Regina Manyara. Now I hand you over to Broadcasting House. In not too long, in several hours, we are going to be in County number 10 that is going to be hosting this cultural festival. Now back to you, Broadcasting House.
Thank you so much, Regina. Regina, I have to admit, I'm envious. When it's come to tourism, I'm envious about you. But hey, go there and represent you. I know you must be wondering where those are split. Was a bit drawn and having a discussion here. Behind the scenes, a lot is happening. And of course, Regina, thank you so much for that. We'll be getting later to her and give us more updates all the way from this side, Isiolo, Marsabit, and finally to Loyangalani. That is going to be an amazing circuit. Okay, so let's come back to the studio and talk about matters justice. Much as we are talking about everything else, you cannot enjoy your freedom without justice. Let's start from there. So justice is a human right. And that is why I'm privileged to have Honorable Judith Pareno, who is the Principal Secretary, State Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs. That is a mouthful of a docket. 3 in 1. All right, docket. So we are going to be having that discussion shortly. But how about we take a quick breather and we come back, that discussion takes effect. Stay with us.
You should really learn how to sweet talk a bit from Mr. Liu here.
I want to learn how to easily steal someone's heart without even trying.
I wasn't waiting for you. I've lived my life exactly how I wanted to live it.
1,000 shillings.
Look here, look here!
We got it.
Mzigo gani mgongo? Kwani uone kama kuna mzigo umeniongezea kwa hapa nyumbani wewe?
Mimi nyumba hii sijaona kitu chochote kinabadilika.
Kweli sisaidi na chochote nyumba hii mgongo. Ni hasara tu kila leo. Nikiamka hasara, nikilala hasara. Kaa hapa paka nguo zimeniishia. Angalia na nguo zako.
Kama una madaraka makubwa, si nilikuja kwako nitafutie kazi.
Nitafutie kazi? Yaani nimekuja kukaa hapa kupata kazi? Kwanza umekuja unaniambia utakaa miezi 2 3 utalala wapi? Mimi sikatai ukae. Sawa? kulala, utalala wapi? Wameshajua basi achoka pata kazi, achoka anajiweza, mtaitana wote hapa, maana yake ni hoteli hapa. Na mtakwenda wapi? Katafuta mahali pa kulala pale pengine.
When the hills gave way in Marakwet, thousands were left with nothing. But together, we can help them rise again. Join KBC in the Restore Hope, Restore Earth campaign, Unity in Adversity. Together for Marakwet. Donate through paybill number 522533, account number 8036543, or drop foodstuffs and supplies at Marakwet County offices. Every shilling, every tree, every act of kindness counts. KBC, bringing Kenyans together.
All right, welcome back. Now let's get into it. But before then, how about, as usual, take you through the front page of our local dailies quickly in 30 seconds. On the front page of the Standard, dreaded chiefs back. That is on the front page of the Standard. Dreaded chiefs back. It says that President William Ruto has resurrected the long-feared imperial chief, arming administrators, handing them fresh battalions of officers, and also restoring a command structure Kenyans thought that they had abolished years ago. What State House hails as quote-unquote empowerment is being read on the ground as the return of village enforcers whose past brutality is etched in national memory. Suspicion is growing that the government is rebuilding a grassroots machine ahead of the 2027 general election. That is what I have here on the front page of the Standard. Very quickly, on the front page of the Star newspaper, regard the blunders trigger unease among allies in opposition camp. Regard the blunders trigger unease among allies in opposition camp. Public outburst, perceived ethnically leaning and escalating rivalry with former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i ignite tension. That is on the front page. Of course, there are several beautiful pictures here. Winners of the just concluded by-election were sworn in yesterday. They took oath of office and ready to hit the ground running. Different of them, several of them took their oath of office yesterday. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Nation, gangland hotspots. That is what I have here on the front page of the Daily Nation, gangland hotspots. There is a graphical illustration of what the Ministry of Interior is talking about, and the government is talking about the where they thrive and how you can talk about that. Of course, Ministry Cabinet Interior Cabinet Secretary for Interior, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, is also raising that alarm but assuring Kenyans that all is well. So you can go out there and take a look or buy your favorite copy and read for yourself. Let's come back to that. Let's talk about when it comes to all of us demand justice, and that justice cannot be served without one lady who is the helm of that ministry. PS, good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning.
Asante sana. This is how we do it every single morning.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's
nice, yeah.
Karibu sana.
Yeah.
First of all, your docket must be a very busy one. You can just take us through that. How is your day today? For that person who doesn't understand, these are 3 departments in one.
Yes, it is all matters justice.
Yes.
Of course, I'm not the only player in the justice field, but I have a mandate. And all matters human rights and issues of the Constitution of Kenya. So you can imagine talking about, if I look at the executive order that establishes my mandate, talks about issues on public participation, talks about implementation of the Constitution,
yes,
talks about reparations, task force and inquiry reports. I'm supposed to implement them. It talks about treaty obligations, international and regional treaty obligations, and how we adhere to them and how we bring down the messages to the people after you comply as a country.
Yes.
It talks about reforms and policy, inclusive legal reforms and policies on elections. So it is a big docket, but I am up to the task.
Great. How is Kenya doing when it comes to access to justice, access to justice? How are we doing?
A lot is going on. A lot is going on. I am looking at, let's look at the provisions of the Constitution of Kenya. Mm-hmm. In fact, right now we are planning to do an audit of the Constitution. What have we achieved so far? Where are we? Where are we going? Yeah. Where have we fallen short? And what can we do to ensure that justice comes to the people? So we have a lot of initiatives. It's only that maybe today I might not have time to say one by one what are the initiatives that we have undertaken to ensure that there is proper access to justice. So probably today I'll just deal with, let's say, 2 or 3 items. Go ahead. That are here. First of all, the Constitution of Kenya has put it very clearly that the citizens have a say in everything that we do. So right now, we have a public participation bill that is ongoing in Parliament. We have a public participation bill itself on how to make people participate in decision making in this country, how we will get views from them. Before you pass any law, before you do any policy, before you take any decision, the people must be involved. That in itself is an aspect of good governance. That in itself is being accountable to the people. So that public participation bill that is ongoing in Parliament, as soon as it's out, it will give us a framework on how we will do everything involving the people, how we can get views from the people to be able to run this the government. So the people are at the center of it. We are giving them a platform to be at the center by involving them through a public participation framework. Yeah. That is one. Then I have the National Legal Aid Service. Yes. We are taking the service to the people, the access to justice to the people. Last week, the Honorable Attorney General, my department, the State Department of Justice and Human Rights, falls under the Office of the Attorney General. Last week, the Honorable Attorney General and ourselves were there launching the legal aid service and Attorney General's legal aid clinics. Yeah. What is in these clinics? We have employed 47 state councils. I mean, in the 47 counties, we have employed 2 state councils per county, employed by government. To do what? To go to mashinani, to serve the people. There is provision in the Constitution of Kenya that says every Kenyan has a right to access to justice. How do you make sure that there is access to justice? The National Legal Aid Service was brought about so that we provide legal aid for free to that person who is an indigent, a person who is unable to afford a counsel, a person who is unable to represent themselves in court. So we have sent 2 state councils to do that. Yes. In all the counties. All the counties. That is, yes. That is around 47 counties. 47 counties. Yes, so we are starting with the 47, 1 office per county first. Of course, it is not enough, but it is where we are starting from, looking at the budgets we have, looking at the preparations that we have. In fact, if you saw what we launched in Kibera, because that's where we did the national launch, we have a container that has offices. Yeah. Just a container, simple, neatly done, kitted container, placed in an accessible place for anybody from the village to walk in and say, I have an issue with how to access justice. And then we have the councils attending to them and directing them through the processes of the law. And for the poor, they are able to vet and see who is this poor person who is unable to defend themselves, and they shall be represented and they are paid for this.
That must be a very good initiative, because we have got a lot of backlog of cases and delays. Do you have timelines as to when this should be done?
For now, we are rolling out. We've already rolled out Kibra. The office is up and running. We have rolled out Kitui. The office is up and running. We have rolled out Machakos. The office is up and running. Right now, we are kitting more containers because I've told you we are mobile. We are putting a container in an accessible place in every county so that then people don't get intimidated going to where there is a lot of security. We want a free access to justice for the people. So we are still rolling out. We are hoping within no time every county will be fully operational. So that's where we are. Okay. And the people are invited to know that there is a national legal aid service for the poor, and there is a service that we have employed state councils to give you for free because government is paying for you to access justice.
Okay. I'll come back to you shortly, Madam PS, but I'm told that the Ministry of Justice is also rolling out certain activities in the country. That is the 11th, the County Anti-Corruption Civilian Oversight Committee. That will be happening on the 11th of December. And the aim is to help civilians to access justice and roll it by themselves. But now the question I want to ask you, Madam PS, when you're doing this, it's called County Anti-Corruption Civilian Oversight Committee. What is it all about? And is it, how is it going to be? It sounds interesting, though.
Yes, that is a major one that I want to speak to this country about.
Yes.
We, as the State Department of Justice, under the guidance of the Attorney General, are rolling out the launch of the County Anti-Corruption Civilian Oversight Committees. What are these committees? There are going to be 47 committees in the 47 counties. I'll be having about 500 members being trained from 8th of December, and the major launch will be done on the 11th of December, which is just next week. So our committees are coming up for training. How did we establish these committees? First of all, I looked at the Executive Order number 1 of 2025, which establishes my office, the office of the entire office of the Attorney General, which gives a mandate to the State Department of Justice, where I had. In that executive order, corruption is mentioned 8 times. Efforts to fight corruptions mentioned 8 times in that executive order. So it means I have a major mandate. But it's not about the investigatory part. It's not about the prosecution part. It's about engagement with the citizens, teaching them, talking to them, civic education, campaigns, awareness, the people to be involved in the fight against corruption. So how did we design our engagement with the people to help us fight corruption? We have a committee in each county. That is what we are calling the County Anti-Corruption Civilian Oversight Committees.
Yes.
What does it, who sits in this committee? The church. The church has been very vocal in the fight against corruption. We are asking the church to come out very strongly, join us. They have given us members in each of these committees. We wrote to the
so it is them to choose.
We wrote to the Interreligious Council of Kenya to give us an appointees, not even one, appointees to these committees. So it's them to make sure the people they have given us are people who are people of integrity, people who will come and help us fight corruption. We are also vetting the people they have given us. So the church has given us members. We have written to Maendeleo ya Wanawake. The Maendeleo ya Wanawake has given us 47 women, strong women, to join us in fighting corruption in this committee. We have written to the National Youth Council. You, the young people, you are the people, the same people saying, and they have a right to, let us fight corruption because it is eating into our opportunities. It is eating into a lot of progress in this country. So we have written to the National Youth Council. They have given us appointees in every of these counties. We have written to the body with the PWDs to also give us a representative. We don't want them to be left behind. We have ensured that the media, you the media, will be there as we do our job.
No doubt about that.
For you to be able to cover the activities and show what these people are doing. What are they going to do? After we have formed the committee of about 10 to 15 people, they are going to do social audits. Remember, we have the legal audits, but these are social audits. The people themselves telling us, this classroom, please come, invite ESCC because we've seen there is something going wrong. Who feels who is this person who feels the pinch when there is corruption around? It is the citizen. The citizen can report to us.
Madam PS, at the end of the day, how are they going to do the reporting?
They normally sit, they have a chair, they have a committee, the same committee sits down, they do social audits, we empower them to do social audits, they do a report, they send to us, we go through the reports, and then you sieve it. Which one requires reference to ESCC? You refer.
Great.
By the way, when we go to the ground, we are with ESCC. We still invite them because they have a mandated prosecution, investigations. Even this training, we are training these CACOCs this week. ESCC is involved in, we are doing it together so that they help us to train and we share experiences. Because not only us are able to do civic education, everybody can do civic education. So this is a civic education exercise, an awareness campaign that corruption must be fought. And how do you identify corruption? How do you report? And then from there, we're able to save it. Those that go to SEC, go to SEC. Those that go for arbitration, go to arbitration. Those that can just be rectified on the spot, they are rectified.
I'm asking that question because when it comes to justice system administration, corruption and public trust deficit is a big issue.
Yes.
How are you handling that?
That is, for us, it is about awareness.
Awareness.
Can you come out and know what corruption looks like and know how to report when something goes wrong, how to become a whistleblower. Remember we did a whistleblowers bill the other day. It is also on its way to Parliament. How do we need to give people information for them to be informed on how they can do all these things, and together we move. Yeah.
And then, because at the end of the day, when you want to access justice, there are certain barriers. What are these barriers that you're trying to tackle and flatten?
There are barriers. Let me tell you. The other day when we launched the legal aid service in Machakos, somebody walked in and said, I have never known how to do this. There's a lot of ignorance, lack of information. Simple things that can be done by just giving the right information and guiding somebody is so easy. A lot of people see a lot of things happening and they don't report.
Yeah.
Look at, like, I'm talking majorly about corruption, fighting corruption and sensitizing people about corruption and the citizen involvement on this one. It is because most of the people who are there present when things are happening are, not most, every time there's a citizen when something is happening. But does that citizen know where to channel the right information? So we want them to be sensitized, to be able to channel, to be able to discern, to be able to observe.
Okay, let's talk about, because when you want to include Mwananchi to access justice, there is a strained relationship between Wanjiku or the citizen and the law enforcement officers. How are you bridging this relationship, at least to make it more cordial, that access to justice should not be a hard nut to crack?
Yeah, you remember when we had these Gen Z issues? We came out to give a Know Your Rights Charter.
Yes.
Just know your rights. When you get in, this is what you need to do. You don't have to be aggressive. Put your point across. Like, we didn't have to have anybody destroy anybody's property for you to say, I don't like this. We want this to be done in the right manner. So we have to come out and sensitize people. That is the only way that they know their rights, they are able to defend their rights, they are even able to declare and say, hey, this is my right, and I want to be addressed in this manner. So the basic thing with this exercise is a sensitization, is an awareness campaign, so that the citizens feel that they are informed, they are empowered to be able to address. Now, this container that we have taken to the people, very accessible, placed in an accessible place where anybody can walk in. We don't want people to be walking into a place where a citizen is feeling intimidated.
Yes.
We want a citizen to just know that I have a simple place that I can walk into. Now, I saw you mentioning about the chiefs today. Every citizen in this country, if you went to ask the citizen, do you know where your chief is? Is there a citizen in this country who does not know where their chief is? The citizen will know how to reach to the nearest point of help, which normally is the chief, which normally is a village elder. But if you place this container among the same people, where like you place it at the DC's place, in fact, we're saying we'll place them in open grounds where they can just access. It will be so easy.
Have you ever had a situation where anytime you have public participation or when listening to people, you get a feeling that there's a restriction to civil liberties when it comes to Wanjiku? I mean, the citizens.
It is not really a restriction. Just as I'm saying, it is because they are of lack of information.
Yeah.
So you find, yes, it ends up being a restriction. Because when you don't know, then you're not able. There's a day we did a civic education and did a public participation somewhere in Nyeri. And we took time to explain. And they said, oh, if this is what it is, then we are in it. So it just needed the interaction between the government and the people. So we are trying to bridge that gap, that we engage the people directly. After all, that is what the Constitution tells us, that is it the citizen who should make a decision. Before we make a decision, we get to hear from the citizen. So we are doing it. We are bridging that gap.
Okay. Are you including, when it comes to justice dispensation, there are certain areas where you can do, out-of-court settlements, arbitrations, for example, or you just include wazee wa nyumba kumi, all right, to dispense justice. Are you including this in the system to access justice?
Yes, you know very well there is the alternative justice system going on in this country.
Yes.
There is arbitration going on in this country, and it's helping a lot in terms of settling a lot of issues amongst the people. In fact, to me, I think they should extend it to traditional ways of helping us out, the sober traditional ways, not the crude ones. There is a way, normally you're told tradition can be, unless it is contrary to the law. Anything that is contrary to the law, you don't do it. But anything that complements the law, inclusive consents. How many times have citizens go to record a consent? They say we've sat down and we have agreed. And most of it is because of these aspects of alternative justice system. In fact, we should be giving, which we are doing.
Yes.
Most of these disputes can be handled through the alternative justice system, which is already working in the country. Yes.
When it comes to grassroots, because that's where a lot of issues arise, and you say that you are expanding and you're having 2 legal aid in all the 47 counties. What is the backlog like? Because when you have got 2, that is 47 counties represented by 2 legal aids. But I'm just wondering the backlog that we have out there.
It is so much. There is so much that is out there, so much need. I have kept giving the example of Kajiado County, where I come from, because I know the size of Kajiado County. It is almost the size of the Republic of Rwanda. So you're giving 2 state councils to a county that is as big as the size of the Republic of Rwanda. So you can imagine how many people will be able to access. Yeah. So there's so much, but we have to start somewhere. It has never been there before. We have never devolved the services, decentralization. And by the way, government has given money for purposes of decentralization, but it's not enough. So we are reaching out to the health partners, we are reaching out to those of goodwill to make sure that at the end of the day, we are reaching out to the people. If you have 2 state councils per county, they can, as big as that, they might not be able to cover. But at least we have started somewhere.
Yeah.
What we'd be asking for is, can we now devolve further from the county headquarters to the sub-county and even to the village?
Yes.
So we are trying our best with what there is, but there is a starting point, and we have done it.
How is Kenya doing continentally when it comes to human rights?
Just like every other country, we have challenges. You saw the other day, we actually have a lot of issues because we have violations of human rights outside the country, like the one of Myanmar. Our people have been trafficked, because I also have an obligation under the executive order to report and to observe our international obligations as far as the treaties that we have as a country ratified, which includes those ones of human rights. So you find we have our people there suffering. The other day you saw the ones in Russia, who either they have been smuggled or they have been trafficked, and we have to come out and defend our people in as far as those victims are concerned and their rights are concerned. On the issues of human rights, we have challenges like every other country, but I want to say, the other day I attended one on the same human trafficking, and these ones of Myanmar were mentioned, and the ones in Russia. And every other country was reporting their issues, and we are just the same. All of us struggling to do the right thing. Kenya is struggling to do the right thing. The other day we had a meeting. I actually reached out to Ministry of Foreign Affairs reached out to Labor, Ministry of Labor, because the people who are being trafficked are actually labor-related issues. But as they do the labor-related issues, I need to do the human rights and victim protection issues. By the way, I'm the chair of the Victim Protection Board, having been appointed the other day by virtue of the being PS. So we are looking for those victims. We are now having a small technical group to feed us from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, from the Ministry of Labor, to ensure that our people are taken care of. But over and above, I think we are doing well.
Okay.
We have the necessary laws in place, so all we need to do is tighten the loose ends.
Perhaps I just take you back to the Russia issue. It's not something that many Kenyans would be so happy about. Many families are around wondering what the government is doing. Perhaps some word of hope from you, maybe with collaboration with other state departments?
Yes, this is a multi-agency issue. When it comes to me, it has a human rights angle, it has a victims angle, because we handle victims, and then there is the angle of immigration, there is the angle of labor, and foreign affairs is also doing their bit. So we had an engagement the other day, and surely there is so much that is happening. It's only that we've not been probably saying that so much is happening. Briefs from that technical team is that we are doing our best to repatriate our people, to make sure that before anybody even leaves this country, the red alarms are taken care of. They at least some reasonable vetting is being done. They are being sensitized so that when you get out, we don't block people from going to look for employment, but we have a duty to sensitize them, to make sure that whatever they are going to do is within the law and that they are not being trafficked or smuggled.
Let's come back. Thank you for that. I think that's well articulated. So now when it comes to the ministry, how are you intending to enhance justice delivery to the grassroots level, starting from the grassroots level, moving up to the national point of it?
Yeah, so you've had the three beautiful activities already going on. The public participation has been done. It's going on. I have informed you about the National Legal Aid Service and employment of state councils in every county to reach out to the people. Then I have now this beautiful program that is rolling out from the 8th to the 11th. We are going to launch them on the 11th, of having civilian committees to engage with the people, to do civic education, to make our people aware of what we are doing, and to ensure that for once and for all, the citizen is involved, the church is involved, the young people are involved, the media are involved in fighting corruption.
Okay. I want us to wind up there, but I want to give you a quote when it comes to justice. There's a gentleman called Martin Luther King. You all know the Martin Luther. He said that justice delayed is justice denied. What do you make of that? It's a cliche kind of a quote that has been given on.
We say it as lawyers. I'm a lawyer by profession.
Yes.
And it is true that justice delayed is justice denied. It is true, because somebody might suffer for a very, very long time. And at the end of the day, by the time you give justice, I have some cases of people who have told me that we have waited until the plaintiff is long dead.
Yeah.
That person died without getting the justice. Because sometimes if it is delayed, then it is actually like almost denied. Of course, it's normally not intentional. It would not be intentional from my angle that it is delayed, but circumstances lead to such a delay. So the best we can do is for a person to access justice, it must be quick, it must be efficient. The service to our people must be transparent, must be quick and efficient. That is the only way we will be able to reach out to.
And basically, that's exactly what you're doing right now.
Yes, and that's what we are doing. We're trying to make sure it's quick, it is efficient, and it is transparent.
Thank you. That is Madam PS. Thank you so much for coming to the show. That is PS Judith Pareno, who is a Principal Secretary, State Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs. A lot is coming. In the month of December, I will be there.
You're welcome.
KBC will be there. Count us in. Thank you so much for joining us.
KBC should be there for the launch of the county anti-corruption civilian oversight committees from all the counties in the Republic of Kenya. Launch will be on the 11th of December. Let us fight corruption. Let us have the citizen be at the center of it.
Great. A great point to wrap up that conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. We're taking a break, but Good Morning Kenya still continues after this break. So please stay with us.
Disemba imefika na Ingo FM inawasha burdan kwa nguvu tukisherekea miaka 13 ya kuwepo. Bungoma, mpo tayari? Tarehe 5 na 7 Disemba tunawaletea kifurushi maalum cha kusherekea miaka 13, miaka za muziki bora, hadithi zenye uzito na kumbukumbu tamu tulizounda pamoja na wasikilizaji wetu. Siku ya tarehe 5 Disemba tutaanza sherehe kwa upandaji miti katika shule ya St. Teresa Special huko Webuye. Kisha baadaye tutatembelea watoto katika shule hiyo ya St. Teresa kuwapatia zawadi pamoja na kukata keki ya anniversary. Jioni kutakuwa na burdan kubwa katika Olukulu Resort, yani Ingo Night kule Matulo Webuye. Kutakuwa na upete wa Musungu, Bungoma Band na wasanii mahiri kutoka Uluyani pamoja na watangazaji wako wa Ingo FM kwa burdan tosha na vibes kali. Tarehe 7 Disemba tutaendeleza shukrani zetu kupitia ibada ya kanisani katika Misiku PAG Church. Mwambie rafiki na endelea kusikiliza kwa sababu Disemba hii Ingo FM ni kituo chako cha sherehe na furaha. Ingo FM, miaka 13 ya burdan halisi.
What kind of a mother are you? Zawadi amekufanyia nini?
Kama Zawadi anataka kusoma, hata umpeleke kwa kichaka, atasoma.
Nikusaidiaje?
Ni hata kwa natulipa ama
nikiinua hii Biblia utatafuna nyasi kama miaka 7 kama Nebukadneza.
Is that all you can say? Mama kanisa?
Unajua kesho nitakuwa kama Monica analia.
Something bad might happen to you, Zawadi.
Watanitesa tu na kazi za nyumba.
Why are you so cruel to this kid, surely?
Get out. Usitoke kwa hiyo room.
Sasa wewe uko na shida ya macho na mwenye anakuwa pia ako na shida ya macho, mtasaidiana aje?
Being the fact that nyinyi wawili hamuoni, mtamanuva aje?
Wewe ambaye ni mlemavu kwa hapo juu nyumbani, wacha kuona ulemavu wako. Kama kuko na kitu unaweza fanya, tokea tufanye.
Differently.
Akituelezea kuhusiana na fadhila za kutawadha nyumbani ili uweze kuswali jamaa katika msikiti wakati wa swala ya jamaa.
Hivyo napendekeza Muislamu pale umesalia, watu wako na tabia kisha sala anatoka anaenda kwenye wall anasoma mbele yamini ya saa, keti pale fanya zile adhkar, basi unapata zile dua ya malaika. Ndio maana quyida alhadith ma zala fi musalla.
Mtazamaji mpendwa, unafahamu mkataba wa Hudaybiyah uliotokea katika tarehe ya Kiislamu?
Watu waliona kwa macho yao kuwa dini hii si ya upanga bali ni dini ya hekima na amani.
Endelea kuongea. And welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Megwe. Today is the International Day for Persons Living with Disability. And the theme for today is Fostering Disability-Inclusive Societies for Advancing Social Progress. You know, this day was declared in 1992 by the United Nations General Assembly. And the whole idea is to promote awareness, understanding, and also acceptance of people with disability. Now, to talk about issues to do with this day and matters affecting people living or people with disability, in studio I'm joined by David Onyango, who is the Java Foundation coordinator. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And also Saum Siraj, Advocacy Chair, Rotary Sunshine, Rare, and Rotary Club Hurlingham. Karibu sana to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you very much.
And also there's Meshak Sisenda, who is a communication and disability inclusion advocate. Karibu sana to Good Morning Kenya. Let's get into this conversation. You know, the whole idea of this day is to increase awareness, understanding, and also acceptance of people with disability. If I may start with you, and giving a picture of the country since 1992, the inception of this day. How do you think Kenya has fared in terms of awareness, acceptance, and also understanding of people with disabilities?
Good. Thank you very much. I believe since 1992 and when the conversation really started, we've made some tremendous progress as a country. Maybe to touch on the policy level.
Yes.
Recently, even this year, we saw the enactment of the Disability Act of 2025. And I think fairly in terms of the legal framework, we've made tremendous progress. I believe there's still yet more to be done, especially in terms of awareness and really bringing in all the stakeholders, be it in the public sector or the private sector,
yes,
and the society in whole, just to embrace the aspect of inclusion, especially for people living with disabilities. And just as I said, the theme for this year really underpins the important role that actually inclusion takes place or influences on matters of development. So yeah, I can say we fared pretty well. There's more yet to be done, and I think yeah, we are on the right track and probably will get better as we address the issue or the matter of disability in Congo.
Yes, how do you think this has progressed from your own perspective when it comes to matters of inclusion, awareness, and understanding?
Personally, as also a person with albinism, from my own journey as a person with albinism, I can say, yeah, we are making a progress, but I see it at a slow pace because most of, let's say, when it comes to awareness creation, here in the city, a lot has been done, but now I try to look back from my community, or rather to the grassroots. Most of persons with disability are still behind. They don't know their rights, and also now we still have cases whereby caregivers or other persons, parents to children with disability still hide their children. They don't take them to school when it comes to employment. So we still have persons with disabilities who are being left behind when it comes to employment. Also talk about education. The time infrastructure, the schools back in rural are not accessible for persons with disability. So yes, we are talking about the framework and also the policy that we have made. The policies are good, but we want to see the action being done in the not only in the city but in Kenya as a whole. Yeah.
So, Meshak raises a very important aspect of awareness at the grassroots level. How would you say as a country we've fared in that regard?
We're trying as a country. I think first and foremost, we must appreciate that Kenya as a country...
Okay, let me cut you short. We go for a short break, I'm told, and we shall be right back to continue with this conversation.
Lakini hata wakati alipokuwa na shughuli nyingi za kimataifa, mtukufu Rais Moi aliendelea na wajibu wake mkubwa wa kuiongoza Jamhuri ya Kenya. Bunge ni mojawapo ya misingi ya maongozi ya kidemokrasia nchini Kenya. Mtukufu Rais Moi huhudhuria vikao vya bunge kama rais wa jamhuri na pia kama mbunge aliyechaguliwa kuiwakilisha Baringo ya Kati. Rais Moi ni mdhamini mkubwa wa bunge na demokrasia yetu. Mtukufu Rais Daniel Arap Moi pia ndiye mbunge wa zamani zaidi katika bunge la Kenya. Amekuwa mjumbe wa bunge kwa zaidi ya miaka 25. Katika mojawapo ya hotuba zake muhimu mbele ya bunge, Rais Moi anasema,
Our task can be pursued honorably and successfully only upon the unshakable foundations of peace, love and unity. Thank you.
Street photographers. Nairobi's streets are alive, full of movement, color, and stories. Amid the chaos, a group of street photographers capture life, frame by frame, a click at a time. But behind every photo lies a story of hustle, of creativity, and survival. Street photography has become a full-time job for many young people in Nairobi. Today, we follow the stories behind the cameras, how they started, how they operate, and what keeps them going.
I'm a street photographer here in Nairobi CBD, and I can truly say that I'm a very proud female photographer up in Nairobi CBD, the best, the baddest, and for quality shoots, nitafute. Since 2023, I've been here. When I was studying, I was still coming to the Nairobi CBD for the street photography.
Every morning, long before the city reaches full speed, street photographers set up their spots, clean their lenses, and prepare for another day of capturing moments on Nairobi's busy streets.
I start my day first early in the morning, because I really need to prepare myself, make sure that my gadgets are all charged up, and by around 9:30 I'm here at the street. I do my things here, nafanya photography hapa na pale, and then ikifika around 5:30 I close my office, because this is my office.
For many of these photographers, some of whom are students, this is their main source of income for supporting families, paying their bills, and even paying school fees.
For sure, hiyo ndio inanipea kila kitu hapa Kenya nataka saizi, ndio inaekelea everything, my dress code, my housing, everything, hiyo ndio inalipa. Photography has also paid for my school fees right now, and for sure photography is paying, this is my office.
Yani mimi vile niko student, at least an income, source of income.
nisitegemee mzazi sana, unaona.
Some of the photographers operate individually, but for some, teamwork is the secret to surviving the streets. They operate in groups, combining their skills and resources to keep the business moving.
As a team, tuna operate in terms of nikipata client, mimi ndo nitaita client, yeye atapiga, akishapiga mimi ndo na edit picha ya client.
Teamwork ndio mzuri kwa kila kitu. For example, tuseme tuna wako wawili, unapata per day huwa tunatengeneza pesa mingi kushinda yule jamaa mwenye ana work individual.
Despite working in the same area, conflicts are rare. Each photographer sticks to their designated spot, a silent rule that keeps the peace on these busy streets.
We don't have conflicts na other photographers, despite wako wengi, unaona, ni kila msee ana place yake ya kupiga. Kama sisi ni place yetu kutoka hapo mpaka hapo, unaona, ni range msee ta next, unaona.
While the streets give them daily income, many photographers expand.
Welcome back. We are talking about the International Day of Persons with Disability. And before we went on a break, so we were talking about how we are progressing at the grassroots level as a country. Continue on that point.
So as a country, the progress is there, but slow, as we are aware, because a lot happens in the urban areas. People are more aware, people are more exposed, people have information and access to that information. But at grassroots levels, a lot has to be done. We really need to go down, do a lot of advocacy. We need to go and break those myths and barriers that are there around persons with disabilities. We need to educate the people at grassroots levels on their rights in terms of matters with disability, show them how they can get a disability card, something as basic as that. Explain to them that the kids can go to school and just have access to education, which is a human right, you know, and things like that. So we still have a long way to go. And the onus is to all of us, not only government, but even the private sector, the development world, corporates. Everybody has to be part of these initiatives. Yeah.
Indeed. And also, looking at disability inclusion and social progress, Derek, from your perspective, do you think it has been placed at the core of Kenya's social, political, economic, and even cultural progress, from your perspective?
Good. That's a very good question. Yeah, first of all, I believe there's some level of progress, and as you've asked, has it been placed at the core of the social, political, and economic discourse? Yeah, so I can build up on what I had shared earlier, and even touching on the Persons with Disability Act, but beyond that, the Kenyan Constitution, which is among the best constitutions in the world, there's that placing of disability matters at the core, and even in terms of pushing for the agenda. In terms of how organizations and how people are viewing the same, I believe also there is some level of really awareness that has been happening over the years, and I can see organizations really coming up very strong to implement some of the things that are shared in the different legal framework that we do have in the country. And my friend here talked about the main issue being the matter of implementation. Of course, we do have a very robust constitution, very good legal framework touching on people with disabilities. And I'm happy that the National Persons with Disability Act of 2025 now gives a bit of obligations. And so organizations and different people no longer view these matters from an optional point of view, but I think it's mandatory now to put in place measures and activities, and also just ensuring that people living with disabilities are put at the center. So I believe we are going there. we are going there, and I'm happy also that we are really doing this through different organizations that are really coming up and pushing this agenda. So I believe we are the core. This matter is placed at the core, but there is more yet to be done. And I still hold on to that there is much that needs to be done. And I think also it starts even from an individual level. So when you look at the society, of course, we can look at it as at a macro level, you know, jurisdictions or governments, but also from an awareness point of view, it pushes individuals also to really have this knowledge about how disability or inclusion really impacts social progress. So yeah, I think also I believe the educational system or the matters education, we've seen also some progress in that, incorporating inclusion in terms of the curriculum from a very tender age, that kids or children grow up knowing, you know, that we can only get social progress when you have everyone on the table. So yes, I think there is much that has been done already. Yes.
Indeed. And Meshach, even as we talk about amplifying the inclusion and leadership of persons with disabilities, from your perspective, how can we as a country amplify, enhance this full inclusion and their participation, influence, especially when it comes to national planning, policy making, and monitoring of the same?
Thank you. I guess first we need to start to remove the attitudinal barrier. What do people understand about disability? We need to make people realize that disability is not a curse, it's not maybe it's not a result of maybe sin. We need to make people understand that disability, yes, is impairment plus barriers. So we need to remove to make persons with disability fit in when it comes to policies. How well have we reached to persons with disability in terms of have we made that document accessible? Are they in braille form for a person with visually impaired, meant to be able to read and understand independently? Do we have sign language interpreters in this public gathering where we expect persons with disability to come and participate and give their views? And are we taking views of persons with disability seriously? Like most of the time they will say that we hold a public participation, persons with disability were there. They give their opinions, but were their opinion being taken serious? So we need also, in terms of accountability, to keep track of our points and what have been done in terms of our views. And also maybe the mainstream media, what are we doing like in terms of raising this awareness? Because I tend to I realize that most of the time media tend to air out views of persons with disability maybe during their days, or a few media, like I know here in KBC we have the Able Differently program, which also try to bring out the what persons with disability are doing. So I believe having such content or rather coverage across all media will also amplify the views of persons with disability, and also will help to do away with the negative side. I know most of the people maybe see us as beggars, but if you see me right now, I'm not a beggar. I'm capable I'm able to deliver when it comes to maybe working. So media also need to air out the positive side of persons with disability, those in leadership, those in entrepreneurship, and also those in music. And also persons with disability are doing great things, even those who are acting. So this content need to come out there so that the world will know that, oh yeah, persons with disability are able also to do this stuff. So that will also help to shape that negative, to remove that negative perspective about disability, and now people will embrace us, and also persons with disability who maybe are still struggling with self-acceptance will also get courage and be confident about themselves and come out and show their potential. Yeah.
So we have strong laws, starting with the PWD's Act of 2025, affirmative action in employment, procurement, retirement, age provisions. But then again, when it comes to implementation, there's a gap. From your perspective, what concrete steps are needed to ensure that these laws are strengthened and implemented accordingly?
Yeah, true, there's a gap. By the way I look at it is that it just came into action in May 2025. So we have a long way to go in terms of implementing what has been said there. I see the provision for employment of 5% of persons with disability in the public sector. Nothing very concrete on the private sector. So how are we encouraging the private sector also to take up this and emulate the same? Because truth be told, most jobs are on the private sector, not on the public sector side, yeah. But that's a good start. And for me, it's just bringing everybody on board the way Meshach has said that they need to be understood, they need to be part and parcel of this journey. What does that 5% really represent in terms of when they say 5%, what does it represent? What opportunities are really there for them? What I've seen in most places, they are giving opportunities, say, to people who are just physically challenged. But what about the rest? How about someone who has a hearing impairment? How are we absorbing them? Somebody who has a visual impairment, how are we absorbing them? Just to remind you, I was last year with the late Honorable Zena Rashid. She was actually the first blind magistrate. And for her, it took quite a while. She became a blind person in adulthood, but she took it upon herself to make it work for her in terms of it's not going to stop her from being a lawyer, and she even pushed and became a magistrate, and even more to that. Unfortunately, we buried her last year in October. For me, this is quite nostalgic. But she was really passionate about persons with disability. She sat on that board, offered free legal advice, and more importantly, we recently launched a smart library at Machakos Institute of the Blind. So when we talk about getting things implemented, we need to see some of those things happening, even for people who are sitting in spaces where they have the capability. But the rest of us who have access to information, we need to go down at grassroots level, including myself. And the way he said, is the information available in forms that, or media that is everybody can understand? I know it's written on paper. We assume somebody can go online and download it. What about the blind person? What about somebody who has a hearing impairment? How do we pass on this information to them? What about old people who can't read? How do we get them to understand this, know their rights, understand what is happening out here, and how do we get them onto the bandwagon? So for me, there's room for making these policies, implementing them, and also for the rest of us trying to see how they are being we monitor and evaluate what is the progress, we give our feedback, but everybody has to be involved. Every time when people complain government is not doing this, I always ask, and you, what are you doing for your country? Before you complain, what are you doing yourself for your country? So let's all come on this table, see how we can support, how we can implement these beautiful policies that are on this act.
Yes.
And move forward. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. When we come back, we shall look at how Rotary clubs are doing in this regard of inclusion and making sure that people understand matters to do with persons with disability. Stay with us after this short break.
Jiang, you should really learn how to sweet talk a bit from Mr. Liu here.
I want to learn how to easily steal someone's heart without even trying.
I wasn't waiting for you. I've lived my life exactly how I wanted to live it.
1,000 shillings.
Look here, look here!
We got it.
To try really hard to be a family again.
But have we ever been a family before?
Well,
no, but Rodrigo doesn't want to see your sister. He wants to see you.
No. But I still have doubts that your sister had been responsible for what happened to you. Used to me solving all your problems. I'm not willing to do that anymore. So you'd better start to forget about that man. Do you understand?
To hold on to something, to continue with my life. And only you can help me.
I demand you to tell me the kind of relationship that you have with Marcelo. Answer us.
What kind of a mother are you? Zawadi amekufanyia nini?
Kama Zawadi anataka kusoma, hata umpeleke kwa kichaka, atasoma.
Nikusaidiaje?
Ni hata kwa natulipa ama...
Nikiinua hii Biblia, utatafuna nyasi kama miaka 7 kama Nebukadneza.
Is that all you can say? Mama kanisa?
Najua kesho nitakuwa
kama Monica analia.
Something bad might happen to you, Zawadi.
Watanitesa tu na kazi za nyumba.
Why are you so cruel to this kid, surely?
Get out. Usitoke kwa hiyo room.
Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. We're talking about the International Day of People with Disability. Now, you are all members of Rotary Clubs, and I will start with you, Derek. When it comes to inclusion, awareness, and promoting the understanding of people with disability, what steps are you doing to that effect to ensure this is achieved?
Good, thank you. I represent Java Foundation, which is a corporate foundation of Java House Group. And we've done a lot of projects in regards to the matter of disability inclusion. But I'll just mention but a few and also mention the why we do it. First of all, let's start with the why. We believe that everyone has the right really to thrive in the economy and in the society, and as a foundation we are quite committed towards that, ensuring that we create impact across all areas in the country, but also touching on each and every individual, and disability inclusion being a core part of it. So I'll just mention but a few. We've worked with Rotary clubs, not only in the country. We've worked with Rotary clubs in the region, that's in Uganda, and also we've done projects in Rwanda, mainly trying to address different challenges that people with disabilities face. Just to mention just one, we've recently launched a project, and I've been working hand in hand with a grassroots organization called Friends of Kibos. So there's a school called Kibos School for the Blind that we've been working closely with them, and our main aim is not only just offering the different learning materials needed, but also going ahead and doing mentorship. And we launched a mentorship program that tries to address and also just mentor these young change makers and leaders who are going to spearhead different initiatives and different aspects, address different aspects in the community. So beyond that, our relationship with the Rotary Club here in Nairobi is the Rotary Sunshine Rally, and it's usually a day that we are quite happy to just come in and support. As sponsors, you know, seeing thousands of kids who are able differently coming and having fun and enjoying is something that we're quite passionate about. So there is more we are doing even in the coming year and in the coming years, just geared towards ensuring that, as the theme says, include everyone for social progress. So that's what we do as a foundation.
Meshach, what do you think organizations need to do to create a workplace where persons with disabilities thrive?
Okay, personally, organization need to ensure that there is accessibility, and now most of organization, okay, they just like feel like we have a ramp, now we are done. But I guess organization need to understand that we have accessibility, which is a general adjustment for everyone, but also reasonable accommodation, which is now an individual adjustment. If we are talking, we have a person with visual impairment and a person with hearing impairment, their reasonable accommodation is different. A person with hearing impairment will require a sign language interpreter. A person with visual impairment who is totally blind maybe will need a computer installed with JAWS to ensure that he or she will be able to deliver. So organization need to ensure that they achieve accessibility and also put in mind reasonable accommodation to ensure that if they're employing a person with disability, they meet their requirement. And also not just employing, but meaningfully employment of persons with disability, because a number of times persons with disability, someone has gone to school, has studied communication, or rather has done law, but the only opportunity organization will give them is customer care service, which is quite contrary with what they have studied. But if you ask them, they say, yeah, we have persons with disability on board. So we need...
so they have checked the list.
Yeah, we need meaningfully employment of persons with disability. If I've done communication, give me that role to do it. If I'm in law, yeah, give me opportunity that align with my field of specialization. That will be great. And also maybe just to talk about Rotary, I'm also a Rotarian, Rotary Club, disability advocacy, and we also give opportunity to persons with disability. We actually, weekly, we normally do online, maybe on our Facebook page, we just interview and try to find out what our persons with disability are doing, just to that for visibility, so that the world can see that, yo, if we are talking about music, we have musicians with disability. If you are talking about medical, we also have doctors with disability. So we ensure that persons with disability are seen out there. And also recently we had the Inclusive Education Summit in October, whereby we bring on board expertise on education and also persons with disability, so that we can understand homeschooling and also, yeah, the usual.
How has that panned out? How you talk to people with disability and making their issues known? How does that initiative panned out? How has that initiative, what has been the impact of that initiative?
We've seen many people, like also people coming, like wanting to know more, and also starting to, like, we also have this guy who is doing illustration, he's called Tunes. He's doing great stuff to pass the information about disability, and also to shape the behavior of learners. We have majored in kindergarten staffs, to ensure that also children are aware of disability and from scratch.
Yes. Saum, you are an advocacy chair and also from Rotary Sunshine Rally. What do you think is needed in terms of training, innovation, that could accelerate this inclusion, understanding, and also awareness of people with disabilities?
First and foremost, Rotary Sunshine Rally is a program that is run by Rotary within Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Eritrea, focusing on persons with disability. It's been around for the last 44 years. We've seen enormous things happening within that, which we can discuss later on. But back to your question, a lot can be done, especially now that we have artificial intelligence. I know people get scared about artificial intelligence, but on the disability side, there's a lot of plus because it makes accessibility better. It enables one to be able to do things that on a normal day they wouldn't do. I mean, for people who are not even able to write, someone with a neurodivergent issue and they're struggling like cerebral palsy, they can, if they're able to speak, they can just speak, and whatever information that they need to put out there is out there using artificial intelligence. And so for me, how to accelerate this is first embrace technology, make it accessible to everyone. Secondly, educate people out here. I think when we were doing the Inclusive Summit, I'm also an honorary member of the Rotary Club of World Disability Advocacy. It's a US club, but it's virtual. So all of us who advocate for persons with disability have joined in and we discuss many issues. Our key project is inclusive education, and within that there's a lot of issues of technology innovation that are discussed, and we're even exploring. There's a program that we want to start where we want to teach parents and caregivers how they can embrace artificial intelligence in just making education more inclusive, more fun for kids with disabilities. And that's something we would want to offer for free because it's virtual. Someone has said, okay, this is knowledge I have, I want to pass it on. And I know we have so many of us out here, especially Kenya, which is very advanced in terms of technology, who can also offer the same for free. Go down to the grassroots and do it, you know. I call upon corporates, government, and even private donors. Let's support the people at the grassroots. Let's make assistive technologies available for them. That's how we can accelerate this. Let's not have tablets sitting in classrooms or the principal's office rotting away. Take it to the grassroots level. They really need it. We have what we call a braille doodle, which will help someone who has a visual impairment be able to learn, be able to even live better. We can also take a notch further, and now beyond just education, and once you've turned 18, what happens to a person with disability? I think Meshach is a good example. I see him struggling. What he's even done, he studied journalism, he's a communication guy, but he even sings just to advocate for persons with disability. So we also have to bring in things like creativity around it. Beyond technology, there's creativity. We have amazing artists, we have amazing actors, and all that. So for me, everybody, as I always say, everybody must come on board. Let's see how we can make this more inclusive for all of us. You cannot be talking about inclusivity when we are not supporting the people who really need it. I'm not saying we ignore the marginalized, maybe people from places where they don't even have access to water and proper classrooms. While we are struggling to get these people water and proper classrooms, let's not leave behind persons with disability. I have been to places where they tell me, that one, we'll deal with it later. Let this child just stay at home while we are taking the so-called normal kids. We struggle to get them to school. Let's take all the kids to school. Everybody has a right to education, you know. Let's employ everyone. Let's figure out what they can do. I want to hail Safaricom. I see them employing persons with disability in spaces where they actually need to be, not just customer care. We've seen them doing, I think, programming, IT stuff. There are those who are doing social media. Some restaurants who've gone further and employed waiters and waitresses who do sign language. And so what happens when you walk in there and they'll give you, what do you call it, a tablet to share your menu and etc. But why can't I learn sign language so that I'm able also to communicate with this waiter and waitress or anybody in a space where they can only communicate with sign language? Yeah, that's it for me, but also accessibility of the assistive devices. I know teachers are struggling in class in terms of the learning aids that they require for their pupils, even in the special needs schools. But these are accessible. They're there. We're just not giving it the attention it deserves. Yeah. So this will really accelerate that whole process.
You also advocate for disability rights and awareness, especially when it comes to children and caregivers. Why specifically that group?
We have so many of those kind of groups. We do support in various ways at club level, then now at a larger level. But more importantly, we have virtual sessions where I just talk to them about their rights, what they need to do. But beyond that, now you go and find out what do they really require. Like caregivers, you need specially trained caregivers. So those programs are there. What we've not formalized, and maybe someone can really come up with it. I've seen a few bureaus offering specialized caregivers, but that's not really popular. A lot of parents with children with disabilities will tell you how they struggle in terms of getting a caregiver appropriate for their child. Otherwise, they usually come, they'll stay for a week and take off. Even on a normal day, you struggle. So imagine when you have a child with a disability. So we need a lot of that, and that is a decent job to do. Out there, by the way, people are training to be caregivers or nurses, but specially trained for persons with disability. And they're really earning good money. I have friends who've traveled abroad, and that's all they are doing, just caregiving for kids with disabilities. And the same should apply here. For me, I look at it as a good form of something you can do and a living. There's dignity in really taking care of a person who really, really needs it. Yeah.
You know, Derek, you look at the National Council of People with Disabilities findings and of 2024, and one of the things that came out was low disability mainstreaming scores in many public institutions, especially when it comes to budgeting, accessibility, inclusive planning. So from your perspective, what do you think, what specific measures can be put in place to ensure we build strong institutional capacity to ensure compliance with the issues that we are talking about, inclusion, awareness, understanding, and even when it comes to jobs?
I think one of the major ways, I'm really loving the discussion and how we've really peeled off from the start. I think we've also mentioned of the different laws, the different progress. We've talked about the National Disability Council and the question of now how do we mainstream and also ensure that we move beyond having very good, beautiful policies to direct implementation. I think the foundational thing that needs to be done to strengthen institutions is just to begin with the aspect of really making people understand awareness beyond knowledge to the heart. So where people are able to know that, we want to mainstream these things because there's a human dignity that we need to uphold, and our Kenyan Constitution really touches on that. I believe one of the things that the government and other institutions really need to labor and do intentionally is to reach to as many people as much as possible. Recently I was having a conversation with one of our partners even on this aspect of people living with disabilities. to date, and I think also Meshach has mentioned that we do have where families whereby kids who are able differently, are locked out and they're not able to access education and other matters. So I think starting with that, ensuring that we have everyone on the boat, we are thinking in the same wavelength, then going a step further, compliance now will be easy. I think once the knowledge has moved from the head to the heart, compliance becomes easy. As corporates, do their things, they're able to embrace and pursue inclusion, not from an aspect of compliance really, but from an aspect of really knowing that inclusion is very key in social progress and development. So creating more awareness, bringing in as much stakeholders as possible with a buy-in. So how can we do this? I'm happy to see Rotary doing a lot of projects around it and really telling people, corporates, and different organizations on the importance of really mainstreaming inclusion matters. So awareness is the key thing. Then moving now from beautiful policies to a place of implementing and walking through these policies from a heart level, and knowing that we are doing this not only for compliance but just maintaining the human dignity that each and every person has. So it can start from the public sector level, but ideally everywhere, education, the private sector. There's a lot that can be done on that aspect. I think once we have everyone on board in terms of the thought process and buy-in, then we can really move really fast. But also I think another aspect is including people who are able differently, even from a policy formulation point of view, policy formulation and implementation. I think one of the challenges probably you might be having, we have very good policies, probably, unfortunately, maybe some of them developed with very minimal consultation. We talked about public participation. Beyond the consultation, public participation in the policy formulation, let's also have, and also there's affirmative action, let's also have people who are able differently now taking the center stage when it comes to implementing and really ensuring that the said policies or targets set are able to be are achieved. I say this needs to be cascaded across all sectors, not only the public sector, but the private sector. And I think that's how we can really mainstream these aspects. And hopefully when another survey is done, maybe the next 5 years, we'll see a lot of progress in that regard.
All right.
Yes.
In the interest of time, I want Meshach to tell us, challenges like poverty, access to education, limited access to decent work, weak social protections are some of the areas that really require addressing. But from your perspective, what other areas do you think needs to be addressed?
Areas like also climate change, because persons with disability also they suffer twice. Like let's talk about when it's sunny, like for a person with albinism who maybe is doing agriculture, he might lose his agricultural product, but also his health as a person, maybe he's at high risk of getting skin cancer. So we also need to include persons with disability on discussion around climate change, and also talk about you've mentioned education, also leadership. Yeah, we need to bring persons with disability on board so that they can also be not just be part and parcel, but also take action, because we can also have duties that we can play as persons with disability. And I like the fact that organizations like Action Network for the Disabled, United Disabled Persons of Kenya, and also Light for the World are empowering youths with disability to be agents of change, because they understand that we persons with disability know where they should pinches. So I myself know my story. So using my story to transform the community and also to bring change in the community. So we need to work with persons with disability, not representative of persons with disability. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So now, looking into the future, as we come to the close of this segment, what does a disability inclusive Kenya look like? And how can we start working towards it such that in the next 10 years we shall make it real?
Just to carry on to what Meshach has said, a disability inclusive Kenya and our continent looks like a place where a child who needs special education gets it easily. They don't have to be on a queue maybe for 6 months or 2 years, and it's available across the country. I look at it as a place where a child who needs occupational therapy, the weekly one, especially the ones with neurodivergent issues, have access to it, ideally for free, because we have social health security medical cover. So can they access it for free? Is it available countrywide in the 47 counties? What are we doing, private, public sector, to make something basic as occupational therapy for free? An inclusive country looks like where sign language is one of the things being taught in schools from the onset, so that we are all able to communicate. An inclusive Kenya looks is a place where a young child is made aware that having a disability is not a weird thing to have. I remember for us growing up, we even used to laugh at persons with disability, and that was so wrong, but it came from a place of ignorance. I want parents, I want caregivers, and the rest of us to teach our young ones about disability so that we understand it at childhood level and we grow up knowing it and seeing what can we do to make the lives of persons with disability even better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah.
And we thank you so much for making time to come and talk about issues that regard persons with disability. That is Derek Onyango, who from the Java Foundation. He is a Java Foundation coordinator. Also Sam Siraj, who is an advocacy chair, Rotary Sunshine Rally, and Meshach Sisenda, who is a communication and disability inclusion advocate. This is where this conversation ends. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mike Migwe. Good Morning Kenya continues shortly.
What kind of a mother are you? Zawadi amekufanyia nini?
Kama Zawadi anataka kusoma, hata umpeleke kwa kichaka, atasoma.
Nikusaidiaje? Ni hata kwa natulipa ama
Nikiinua hii Biblia, utatafuna nyasi kama miaka 7 kama Nebukadneza.
Is that all you can say, Mama Kanisa?
Najua kesho nitakuwa
kama Monica analia.
Something bad might happen to you, Zawadi.
Watanitesa tu na kazi za nyumba.
Why are you so cruel to this kid, surely?
Get out. Usitoke kwa hiyo room.
Disemba imefika na Ingo FM inawasha burdan kwa nguvu tukisherekea miaka 13 ya kuwepo. Bungoma, mpo tayari? Tarehe 5 na 7 Disemba tunawaletea kifurushi maalum cha kusherekea miaka 13, miaka za muziki bora, hadithi zenye uzito na kumbukumbu tamu tulizounda pamoja na wasikilizaji wetu. Siku ya tarehe 5 Disemba tutaanza sherehe kwa upandaji miti katika shule ya St. Teresa Special huko Webuye. Kisha baadaye tutatembelea watoto katika shule hiyo ya St. Teresa kuwapatia zawadi pamoja na kukata keki ya anniversary. Jioni kutakuwa na burdan kubwa katika Olukulu Resort, yani Ingo Night kule Matulo Webuye. Kutakuwa na upete wa Musungu, Bungoma Band na wasanii mahiri kutoka Uluyani pamoja na watangazaji wako wa Ingo FM kwa burdan tosha na vibes kali. Tarehe 7 Disemba tutaendeleza shukrani zetu kupitia ibada ya kanisani katika Misiku PAG Church. Mwambie rafiki na endelea kusikiliza, kwa sababu Disemba hii Ingo FM ni kituo chako cha sherehe na furaha. Ingo FM, miaka 13 ya burdan halisi.
Street photographers. Nairobi's streets are alive, full of movement, color, and stories. Amid the chaos, a group of street photographers capture life, frame by frame, a click at a time. But behind every photo lies a story of hustle, of creativity, and survival. Street photography has become a full-time job for many young people in Nairobi. Today, we follow the stories behind the cameras, how they started, how they operate, and what keeps them going.
I'm a street photographer here in Nairobi CBD, and I can truly say that I'm a very proud female photographer up in Nairobi CBD, the best, the baddest, and for quality shoots, nitafute. Since 2023, I've been here. When I was studying, I was still coming to the Nairobi CBD for the street photography.
Every morning, long before the city reaches full speed, street photographers set up their spots, clean their lenses, and prepare for another day of capturing moments on Nairobi's busy streets.
I start my day first early in the morning, because I really need to prepare myself, make sure that my gadgets are all charged up, and by around 9:30 I'm here at the street. I do my things here, nafanya photography hapa na pale, and then ikifika around 5:30 I close my office, because this is my office.
For many of these photographers, some of whom are students, this is their main source of income for supporting families, paying their bills, and even paying school fees.
For sure, hiyo ndio inanipea kila kitu hapa kenye nataka saa hizi, ndio inaekelea everything, my dress code, my housing, everything, hiyo ndio inalipa. Photography has also paid for my school fees right now, and for sure photography is paying. This is my office.
Yani mimi vile niko student, at least ni an income, source of income. Nisitegemee mzazi sana, unaona.
Some of the photographers operate individually, but for some, teamwork is the secret to surviving the streets. They operate in groups, combining their skills and resources to keep the business moving.
As a team, tuna operate in terms of nikipata client, mimi ndo nitaita client, yeye atapiga, akishapiga mimi ndo na edit picha ya client.
Teamwork ndio mzuri kwa kila kitu. For example, tuseme tuna wako wawili.
unapata per day huwa tunatengeneza pesa mingi kushinda yule jamaa mwenye ana work individual.
Despite working in the same area, conflicts are rare. Each photographer sticks to their designated spot, a silent rule that keeps the peace on these busy streets.
We don't have conflicts na other photographers despite wako wengi, unaona, ni kila msee na place yake ya kupiga. Kama sisi ni place yetu kutoka hapo mpaka hapo, unaona, ni range msee ataka next, unaona.
While the streets give them daily income, many photographers expand their craft, offering studio portraits, events coverage, and corporate shoots to grow their businesses and reach new clients.
Tunachapa studio photography, street photography, family, couple, and type of photography tunachapa. At focus kwa still peke yake.
Mimi ni director, mimi direct shoots. Tukienda shoot huko nje na direct na napata pesa. So despite napiga photos huko, pia na direct nyimbo huko.
Traditionally, street photography has been dominated by men. But the women who step into this world are thriving, confident, skilled, and redefining what the industry looks like.
I can just say, saizi kwa street watu wamesha kubali pia what a man can do, a woman can do better. That's something that I do say. Kama mi saizi in the street, because I know I mostly interact with the male photographers. They truly are there for me, wanani support for security, anything I need. They make sure that I'm truly comfortable. So I can't really complain much about being in this field.
Despite the passion, life on the streets is tough. Between rising costs, unpredictable weather, slow business, and harassment from some clients, the photographers face numerous challenges.
Mostly challenges zenye kama photographers tunapitia ni customers, kupata customers. Juu utapata kwa street kuna mafotografa kama 10. Na huyo customer ametoka kutoka huko juu kupita huko chini, then unaona lazima umconvince ama tu bahati ya Mungu.
Challenges that I face is that people ignore you. You can ask them for a photo and they truly will ignore you and pass you without even saying or talking. Another thing is sometimes you find people who are really in bad mood, who can even like abuse you for no reason. And for me here, I'm just coming to look for like something to put on the table for myself.
Equipment ziko na challenge sana. For example, kununua kamera mzuri, lazima ukue na pesa.
Society uko nje bado wanachukulia photography ni kitu ya mchezo, unaona. Even though kuna watu wanapiga professional na inawalipa, but sasa sisi kama beginners ni ya kusustain, tunaona. Ndio tufike hizo level za professional yani.
Still, passion keeps them going. The love of capturing smiles, memories, and moments that will last forever as they urge anyone with passion in the field to join them.
Advice ni, if you want to be a photographer, just start now. Go to school if you have the ability to go to school or to gain some extra skills on photography. Another thing is, ukitaka kufanya photography, lazima ujitume. Skills unaipata ukifanya practice more and more and more and more.
From sunrise to sunset, these photographers turn Nairobi's busy streets into living studios. Their work may seem ordinary, but through their lenses, the everyday becomes extraordinary.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, each year on the 25th of November up till the 10th of December, the world gets to mark 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. This has been happening since the year 1991. And right now, on this year's, activism against gender-based violence, we are running with the theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls. And that is our main focus right here on women at the forefront. And I have with me amazing, great women. From my immediate right, I have Miss Valeria Buonifante, and she is the Deputy Head of Office, Italian Agency for Development Corporation, Nairobi Regional Office. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to have you on board. And right next to Miss Valeria, we have Njeri Wamegwe. She is a human rights defender. Njeri, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have the both of you here today as we get to talk about this very important conversation. I know that we give it a week each year, but it's a conversation that should be ongoing, always year in and year out. Now, just to have our focus on the digital violence against women, maybe if we can just begin by trying to paint a picture of what that looks like in our society today. Maybe if I can begin with you, Njeri.
I believe digital violence is the violence that we see every day being meted, especially towards women on digital platforms, some of which includes cyberbullying, online trolling. We're also looking at things like image abuse. Image abuse is where non-consensual images are shared, some of which even include deepfakes that are done by AI, and they're used either to extort money, to blackmail, or just to harass you. So we are looking at different types of bullying that happens in platforms. And right now, also when you're looking at platforms, you're looking at platforms that do not have any tech controls. Beforehand, we could see that when you would report an account for doing this, things would happen. The account would either be removed and penalties would be put against this. But right now, we're looking at where you can be bullied anytime, any day in any tech platforms.
And this it cuts across, It does not matter one's age. It does not matter one's background. It does not matter one's geographical background. It cuts across. Do you agree with me on that, Miss Valeria?
Totally. You're right. It doesn't matter even the social or educational background, because violence against women and also the tech-facilitated violence is affecting everyone. No matter what is the social status, the educational status, and now this tech facilitated, the violence in the online space is going also beyond physical boundaries and is replicating and also multiplying, amplifying the forms of violence that people, and especially women and girls, can be affected by.
And when it comes to digital violence, sometimes it's overlooked. I would like to say, not even sometimes, most times, it is actually overlooked because, if it's not physical, if it's not, violence that we can actually see and get to see, okay, he hit you there, we can see the mark. When it comes to digital violence, it is overlooked. Maybe what is enhancing this more, and what is it compared to, the actual one, the physical one, compared to this, that now the digital one is overlooked?
I feel like the reason we overlook digital violence is because we don't see the effects of digital violence immediately, or because they are not, they are hidden. The invisibility of it. You assume when you troll somebody online, it doesn't affect them. It's like mental health, where it is not visible. It's clearly affecting you, but it's not visible. However, you cannot overlook the fact that it causes stress, it causes depression, to the point of where suicide, where people are killing themselves by suicide. So you cannot overlook those effects. You can imagine coming online, and I'm saying this as somebody who is trolled a lot, coming online and seeing, you know, you're trending and you're not trending in a positive way. It could be they're talking about your physical appearance. It could be that you said something that affects, you know, how people see themselves. And when you look at this and how people take it, and then the amount of, I mean, you can be trolled simply for having a degree. I remember this last week, there was a trend where look at the degrees. No man wants a woman with degrees, and it became such a vile, thread on X. So it could be any matter of anything, but you cannot compute how distressing it is to the physical body, to your mental health, and how you feel when things like this happen.
Are you able to protect yourself from such? Is it really a possibility? Can you be able to protect yourself from, the digital violence?
May I turn the other way around your question, which is underlying a very good point. I don't think it sits with the victim to protect herself or himself. I think it's something that should be on the system, or more some protection mechanism, some positive response mechanism should sit within the ecosystem, the digital space, and also the physical and real space. Because otherwise the risk is always this double victimization, this blame the victim. I'm the one who's been attacked, who's been exposed, who's been hurt. I don't have also to carry the burden of just protecting myself. It's the system around me, the social, the economical space, the political space that should change in order to chase away the toxic behaviors.
Yeah, so it's the same as when you talk about, domestic violence, when they kept saying, teach your girls, protect your girls, and it was like, no, talk to the boys, just talk to the boys. It's not about me protecting myself. So this is the same case also when it comes to the digital violence. It's not about me looking for ways in which I can be able to protect myself from being victim to digital violence. It's about just everything that exists and everyone that exists in that space to ensure that, just be a respectable person, just have empathy, and look in ways you navigate the internet in just ensuring that everyone is safe on there. But now, this is not the case as we're seeing it. Jerry, you've actually mentioned that you are victim to that. You get bullied a lot online. And then there's that point where you're told, just grow a thick skin. You're just like, will you keep complaining that they're doing this to you or that? This is something that we've had most times. Even online, when you go on there and there's someone who's complaining, maybe this person has done this to her, probably their pictures have been exposed in a way that is not, proper, and then you're just told, just grow a thick skin and move on. What does that do to the person who's now complaining about it?
It destroys your trust. Your ability to report, because if you're not protected, what happens to you? That makes you vulnerable, right? You're surviving something that is literally affecting every facet of your life. Because I can imagine, and we have seen instances where, let's say, for example, non-consensual photos have been leaked, and now they're everywhere. How do your family is calling you, your workmates, people who are close to you, your church mates, everybody is wondering what is happening to you. Where do you go? Where is the recourse? Where is the, actually let me use the word punishment. How do you feel safe again? Because your safety is gone. Everything that you trusted and held close to yourself is gone. Now you're exposed and you feel like everybody. It may be online, but you feel like if you walk outside, everybody knows what's happening to you. And it's not a good feeling. And again, I will refer to a case I remember. This lady, and she was 50-something when this happened to her. And the church and everybody around her called her, and she got so distressed that she unalived herself. And that was here in this country. And so we have to start thinking of the consequences of this action, and why do the platforms not penalize the people actually contributing towards this action. I think monetizations of the platforms have also really affected how people show up in online spaces. Because even being monetized, it means I can be as toxic as possible and get so many people to come together, and you gain traction, and you're able now to push your agenda without there being anything that is going to happen to you.
Maybe what's the best way to go around that? Even for these digital platforms, what is their responsibility in this? I mean, we're living in the era of AI, and I'm sure that it can be used to detect, such violations that we get to see online. So maybe just what is the role of these digital platforms?
Is a major role, and if I may, I think it's it has not been explored enough, and they have not been questioned enough. And also the monetization, the financial interest, the economic interest is playing a role, because it's still, my feeling is that it's still kind of considered a bilateral negotiation between the hater and the victim, and the person that is affected by the online flame or hate. But the digital platform, the companies are playing a major role, because they are the ultimate responsible and the ultimate benefiting from all the economic interaction and exchange that are like laying behind all the interaction on the social platforms. And of course, it's I think it's an issue that should be addressed in a twofold manner. Of course, there is a matter of policy. The regulatory framework should be there with clear rules, indication, and also sanctions in case of misbehavior. But also, we know that the real change is coming from with a bottom-up approach. Is happening in real life among real people, fueled by the behavioral change that every single person can bring about. And so I think it should be this dynamic. We should promote and disseminate a behavioral changer among the users, isolating all the toxic behaviors and labeling them and stigmatizing them. And of course, we should also push for a policy change, for having this regulatory framework which is not enabling for the tech-facilitated violence, or for the social space and the virtual space to be a place of violence and abuse.
So the social media companies should be held accountable.
Totally. Financially, because of course you have to hit where it hurts, and the economic spot is always the weak spot, or the most powerful spot, according to the perspective. So clear sanctions should be there. They should lose money if they allow for the virtual space to be a space of violence.
Why is this not happening already?
Because huge interests are at stake, I guess. But again, also as users, we can promote a change. Because if we are dropping, or we are stopping using or being in the virtual space that allows violence, that is an enabling environment for harassment, for abuse, if we leave this space will die, will be of no use. So it's also something that we can trigger again from the with a bottom-up approach.
All right, and Jerry, rather, you've been on this for a while. I mean, I'm sure most of the people watching already know you from online, from the work you do online, because that you really use online for advocacy, for sure. So maybe, what is amiss, specifically when we look at Kenya? What is amiss in all of this? And if there are policies that need to be put in place, what sort of policies are we looking at?
One of the things that is amiss is digital hygiene. how do we use social media? What is it we're in social media to do? And how do we ensure that there is consent, there is boundaries, the same way you would not actually come to you and abuse you. It's the same way we should also consider using social media. We can't be on social media backing at people that we would never back at online.
Yeah.
And I feel like the digital platforms have a place, and the law also has a place in which it should also be able to take place. And I feel like the law is used discriminately. For example, when we were pushing, let's say, the last year's agenda towards Maandamano, they would be able to find you because of a tweet. Yet when I go and report that the same thing has happened to me physically, the same response is not gotten. So the same response that a politician is able to get should be the same response that another person, another social media user should be able to get. It should be the same. Also, where are the penalties? As you've said, I like what you said. You said AI should be used to detect. You know, to detect and to be able to say, we have a problem here, and this is immediately deleted at source, so that you know immediately that if I do this and this is reported, immediately my post will be deleted, I will be put into punishment, probably suspension. If I continue violating, then you know, my account can be taken away. And you know, we have IP addresses. That IP address cannot be able to form another account. So there should be actual immediate punitive measures that people should be able to face. But right now, there are no consequences. I can tweet whatever I want to say, I can write whatever I want to say, and nothing is taken into account, you know? And I feel the government has a role to play, but we also have a role to play, calling out people and saying, look, what you have said is not correct and it's not going to be allowed. What is our digital culture? What does it say about us as people and how we approach, you know, issues, right? And so I feel like those are the things we should be looking at, our digital hygiene, our digital culture, what are the methods, why are we as a country, you know, we are in Kenya, so I'm going to talk about Kenya. So what is Kenya doing to ensure, and it's not just by punishing people, but also ensuring that there is a, you know, respectful culture for the social media users in this country.
And I think that's where it's at, just ensuring that we are changing that narrative altogether, you know, changing the culture whereby, you know, we can exist respectfully among each other, not just in person, but online as well. Because nowadays, it's so unfortunate because you can hide under a pseudo account, so I won't know it's Njeri who's talking, you know, who's talking about me, simply because you can go anonymous, then you can say whatever it is that you want to say. It is really, really unfortunate. And I don't know, I'm really hoping we get to that point. Maybe how far are we? Just from, you know, just from your point of view, how far are we to getting to that point where now we can be able to completely, you know, take care of this?
Like that you did. I'm really struggling to get a straight answer. I think we should remain positive and acknowledge that we are on a journey. And I guess celebrating the 16 days of activism, but also being committed and engaged in our daily life with the work that we do, but also with the kind of life that we carry on is supportive. In terms of, I would rather look at it in terms of what can we do more. There's a lot to do, of course. And first of all, thinking about the cyber space and adding a bit on what you were already saying. One of the place where there is room for improvement and investment is in terms of representation. Women are not there in the cyberspace. There is a serious underrepresentation, and this means also that the space is shaped differently. The cyberspace, the social media are not designed from the very beginning to be gender sensitive. And so also the mechanism to detect, to protect and to intervene, to react at abuse and violence online, and this is very similar to what is happening also offline. We can easily transpose the this interpretation. Until women are fully involved from the very beginning in every political, social, economical, and cultural aspects of our life, of course we will be lacking and missing something. And again, the digital space needs to be designed from the very beginning to be gender sensitive, to be also able to recognize and embrace and acknowledge the reporting system. There's a lack of empathy in the real world, we all know. I guess we have all experienced it, but also and even more in the online space, because the mechanism has been shaped in a way that does not recognize some signals and some requests, and that does not respond properly in a way that is effective but also empathic to some of the reports, requests and claims.
Yeah. All right, now allow me to interrupt this a bit and hand you over to Trevor, our reporter, who's on standby at the Jamhuri grounds for the Powering Inclusion, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation. Trevor, if you can hear me, kindly let us in on what is happening.
A very good morning to you, Vivian, and thank you so much. We're coming to you live from Jamhuri Sports Center at along Gong Road here in Nairobi. Today is the International Day for Persons with Disabilities, and we are here at the Energy Center for the Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation Energy Center, where the REREC is holding an event to commemorate and to celebrate the leadership of persons with disability. And we're here because REREC is doing this in honor of the persons with disability, which is marked every 3rd of December. And the day highlights, and it's meant to celebrate and to bring to mainstream the inclusion and equal participation of persons with disability, as well as championing for removal of physical and social systematic barriers that make people with disabilities experience challenges here and there, and also to promote and to mobilize governments and the private sector and communities to take action. And Vivian, I'll bring on board the manager for this center. His name is Mr. Bob Modi, who will tell us more about this event and its significance and why they are holding it here. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob, for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
You could begin by introducing yourself and first tell us what happens at an energy center.
Thank you so much. We appreciate for this day. This is a great day for us on behalf of REREC and every other Kenyan, especially those who are challenged differently. My name is Bob Modi. I'm the manager Energy Centers REREC. This is one of the energy centers that REREC manages across our country. We so far have 17 energy centers, Jamhuri being one of them and one of the oldest energy centers. We have a number of activities that happen at the energy centers that run across agroforestry. Here is where we plant the tree seedlings. Like currently we have like 120,000 seedlings planted around to help in promoting the agroforestry and the tree planting across the country toward the 2030 vision as was announced by the president. Here we also do sensitization and training for all the renewable energy technologies across the country that run from biogas systems, that run from the solar PV systems. We have parabolic cookers, and we have a different number of technologies that we train the people on their growth, their development, and their management, and that happens nationally. Thank you.
So when you mention about the trainings for the cook stalls and of course the renewable energy, equipments here, maybe you can talk to us a little bit about the skills gap that probably we see a lot of electrical students, and are these skills that they're coming out with them from their schools, or are you reaching a point where you probably have to retrain them and teach people in the grassroots how to use them?
Yeah, thank you very much. Much of the training that we do to Kenyans of goodwill who will want to know how to do some of the activities by themselves, and we do them for free to help promote renewable energy, and also to help each and every Kenyan be able to access cheap energy, both in cooking and also even as sources of light within their homesteads. And it runs across, and everyone learned or through technical institutions are always welcome to all our energy centers so that they get the necessary skills that are aligned with green energy as is mandated in the vision of rural electrification and renewable energy corporation.
So today you're holding an event here to celebrate people living with disabilities. It's not one of the first things we've seen you do as REREC. We've seen you conduct other CSR activities across different counties. Maybe you can just briefly highlight some of them, and maybe what's the impact that you've probably witnessed from how many people have you reached, and what's the kind of reception that you're getting apart from that?
Yeah, one of the key mandates of REREC is service delivery, especially free service to Kenyans that starts from electrification of rural areas. But now in the perspective of our today's event, this is a very great event to REREC because we are amplifying. We are trying to showcase the powers that the people who are challenged differently possesses. And this is an initiative that REREC, throughout our mandates, we have been trying to build upon. And today, we also have staff here who are challenged differently, who have come to partner with us also to help magnify their plights. Now, across our country, REREC has had different initiatives involving people with a disability. The latest being in Kitui during the Mashujaa Day week, when we had a camp, an eye check camp, which was attended by more than 1,100 beneficiaries. In Kirinyaga, the same happened, where in our booth, we had more than 1,400 beneficiaries that attended. We were doing the eye checks and also providing necessary medications within such levels.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob. We really appreciate your time. And of course, Vivian, like you heard it, it's a very big event that's being organized here by REREC. And we expect the Cabinet Secretary for Energy, Honorable Opio and I, to also grace the event. We'll also other senior government officials, including the CEO of REREC and other top leaders in the country. And this is something that will be beaming live here in the course of the day. And I now hand it over back to you, Vivian.
Thank you, Trevor, and we will definitely be keeping tabs on that event that will be happening there today. Now, let's get back to our conversation, and we're talking about the 16 days of activism, specifically having our focus on digital violence against women and girls. And before we took that a brief break, you had mentioned, Ms. Valeria, you had mentioned something to do with having more women, you know, in this tech spaces. And, you know, I actually had something on that, just us encouraging girls to take up or pick up or rather pursue careers in the tech space. I think that will also assist in this. Will it make a difference? Do you think so, Njeri?
100%. When things are not designed with women from the beginning, it excludes women. Yeah. And we don't really think about the effects of how this works. For example, when I just learned this is the year we have started having women crash dummy tests on cars. Cars were never designed with women as primary users. So most of the things inside a car do not work to the advantage of women. So the same with tech platforms. Having not been designed with women as an end user, it means we have to really now come up with things that include women. When we say things are not inclusive for women, it's exactly that. How do we then make these tech platforms become inclusive to women and to girls?
Allow me to cut you short a bit. I'm being directed to that we should be heading to the Senate right now. That is ready.
Good morning to you, our dear viewers, and welcome to this live broadcast of the Senate this morning. It is a live broadcast coming to you from the Senate chambers. Well, good afternoon to you. Good morning. The day is seemingly moving fast. It is already 9:12 in the AM this morning. This being a Wednesday sitting of the Senate this morning, convened for the Senate to investigate and determine the matter facing the governor for Nyamira County, Governor Amos Nyaribo, who was impeached by the County Assembly of Nyamira. This sitting has been gazetted by the Senate Speaker for the House to convene and consider the matter before it, the matter before the Senate for the better part of today morning, in the afternoon, and for the better part of Thursday up to the close of business will be the consideration of the charges on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Amos Kimwomi Nyaribo, the governor for Nyamira County, where the senators are set to hear and a vote on this matter. The vote here will have the Senate listen and consider evidence from the County Assembly, in this case being the accusers who are accusing the governor of Nyamira County of a number of